Shashi Adinamu I can see. Ah,
Hi, Saurabh.
Hi Raghu, how are you?
I'm doing very good. Good afternoon.
Great, great, great. So I had pinged you, so I think we are already live, and we can
Yes,
probably just in a minute we'll get started.
super.
All right, let us get started. Welcome to the let's get started on this. Welcome to the Bajaj Allianz Insurance Instagram live session. Today's session is on a topical topic of startup at the rate of insurance. So basically, startup times insurance, and where we talk about topics on hyperspeed as well as scale. Before we start, I hope everyone is keeping safe in line with our caring yours motto. Everyone is staying safe, taking precautions. So today I'm joined by my friend Mr. Raghu Ravinutula. We call him Raghu. He's the co-founder and CEO of a company called Yellow Messenger, and we go back a few years, and we'll talk about that story and a whole lot around startups and what's happening on the customer experience journey and the tools and new things that are getting done in that space. To start with, Yellow Messenger as a company, the mission, Raghu, I read on the site was make connecting consumers with enterprises as simple as chatting with a friend. So, and you say on LinkedIn, AI is the most powerful consumer experience tool. So we would love to hear your story, how you, what the entrepreneurship story, how you came into being an entrepreneur and how you took, Yellow Messenger forward. So let's start with that.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for the introduction. It's amazing to be at Bajaj General Insurance live Instagram. Had a great journey with you and the team, Saurabh. So quickly on the journey, I've been in the tech industry for 15 years and have been seeing that there's been a huge surge of use of WhatsApp at consumer and Slack at the enterprise end. And it looked quite natural that with that adoption, enterprises need to sell their products, provide customer support, market their products and services on these platforms. And the only way that can be done at a huge scale is by using AI and automation. And that was the seed for the idea. And we started off in 2016 with a basic platform that enabled consumers to connect directly with businesses on channels that were available then. And in fact, Bajaj has been one of our first five customers, and we saw the scale that it could reach and the ROI that it can provide, and the journey evolved. And right now, we are about 350 plus customers globally across 16 different countries, Saurabh. So, been an
Yeah.
exciting journey.
No, no, great. And how did you come about being an entrepreneur? So we keep talking about you have a corporate background. Initially, you were working in a couple
Yeah.
of companies. I realize that. What's your story? What made you go in that direction? And now Messenger is in California, in India, 350 plus customers as you talked
Yeah.
about. But what made you go there?
Yeah. So it started with the second company that I have been. So I started off with a company called Texas Instruments, which was a really large company, but I made a move to a smaller company at that time called Magma Design Automation. And at that time, I saw the company grow from very few $1 million to being a world leader in electronic design automation, and was led by an Indian founder. And that just was fascinating journey to see a company with an Indian founder being number one in their domain. And I just wanted to experience how that journey would be for myself to go through that. I think that was the primary motivation. And I've been looking at multiple ideas where to get started. But I think the motivation and inspiration came from that journey that I have seen at that company.
Okay, great. Now, if we talk about the Bagic story, so see the AI-enabled bot on the Yellow Messenger platform. If you remember the story I told you about how the naming of that, came about, because we call it Boing. Boing, Boing, and not it doesn't stand for anything. It doesn't,
Yeah.
there's no full form as such because and this was named by one of our team members. In fact, part of our Topcom team. But the behind the scenes story is very interesting because now Boeing is central to our customer engagement. The entire platform that we do. We have enabled like 23 different services across endorsements, renewals. We have used like third-party integration on Google Alexa. The voice part has come in together. In fact, we are servicing 31.5%, almost one third of our footprints is getting serviced there. And I'm particularly proud of one thing on Boeing, that how it is learning and becoming smarter as it is growing. See, that is one thing that we talk about the AI in these bots. See, these are not just, tools which have some APIs connected and they do perform some functionality. But I think even our audience will be very interested in knowing, what's the science behind the whole AI? How is it learning? How is it becoming smarter and smarter over a period of time? So just your insights on, the platform on insights, please.
Fantastic question, Saurabh. So just to kind of peel the complexity a little bit on how things work behind the platform. So majority of the work is done by the machine learning layer. Even natural language processing is evolution of machine learning. Essentially, machine learning seen at the basic level is we are feeding a set patterns, just like you're showing a child multiple different kinds of apples. And the child, when presented with a completely new fruit, which tends to be an apple, they can recognize that, hey, this is red in color, this is in pear in shape, and I recognize this as an apple. This pretty much works in a similar way where you're feeding them with a lot of sentences, a lot of actions that need to be done on those sentences. And when there is a new conversation that's happening based on the features that it can derive out of this, it can predict that, hey, this person is coming in to buy a motor insurance, and then drive out the necessary actions from that. And the way the self-learning happens also is that always prediction has a confidence. So whenever there is a confidence that, hey, I'm feeling that it's 80%, but the person went on ahead and selected motor insurance, that means that for that specific conversation, it actually should be 100% confidence. So it takes back and puts in the source of the patterns for the next pattern to be more accurately predicted. At the core of it, that's how machine learning and AI works. That's as simple as that, Saurabh.
So so our Boeing is now 2 years old. I'm sure many people have called or named their various bots with various names. I'm always curious around one thing, around the voice aspect. So so if you could help us with what's happening. So while we use on Alexa and Google Assistant, we have gone live by using that skill level called Ask Boeing or Talk to Me on the Google Assistant and Talk to Me Boeing. How do you see the voice being an important parameter, or are you seeing a lot of customer interactions now shifting to voice as a new interface?
I'll kind of give two trends happening. Right now, a lot of voice interactions are happening on telephony lines. All right. So a lot of 380 million customer support calls are generated every single year. On the voice, where we are seeing two trends emerge is a lot of interactions are actually moving from telephony voice to digital messaging. For example, the entire Google business messaging bot that went live on Boeing just recently, that's based on Google's survey among all the participants, all the users, that while phone calls are being forced upon the users, 80% of the users want messaging to the businesses. So we believe that a lot of phone interactions will actually move to text messaging, and that's actually seen, I guess, in while during the pandemic when call centers were going remote, there was not enough traffic, etc. The second key area where voice actually is becoming more prominent is in countries like India and emerging markets, where the literacy is still not up there. And the only way to reach significant population and significant users is through voice. And that becomes a voice automation becomes an enabler for enterprises to move beyond the tier one audience and go to tier two, tier three, where a significant part of the interactions happens in voice. And that's what we as a company are excited as well, Saurabh. So these two trends are happening simultaneously. Your voice is breaking, Saurabh. Now it's a little better. Yeah. Yeah. Now it's very good. Hello. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Okay, can you hear me? I can hear you, Raghu, but can you hear
Yeah,
me?
now I can hear you. Yes. I'm losing your voice again, Saurabh. I'm really sorry about that.
One back, Raghu. Okay, let's continue the conversation. If you can hear me,
I
is my
can.
voice clear? Better. I will keep it.
Very clear. Absolutely.
No, the audience, are they able to hear?
Now I'm able to hear very well, Saurabh. Yeah.
Okay. I think the audience is not able to hear. So let me just join back in. Or we are able to hear. Yes, yes. That means
Yeah.
audience is
Now,
also
yeah.
able to hear.
Yes.
All right. So let us continue on this. Somehow the speaker phone was an issue. So Raghu, just on the vernacular piece, see there is a lot of talk now being, the bots are not just coming in English, but these are as extensions of what we do on a day-to-day basis. And there is so much talk about automation, so much talk about this thing, but in my own language. I remember, my son 2 days back was teaching Google Assistant to say his name. Said, so hi Shaurya, as the name, because that's how the process started. Because the whole objective of making things more personalized, right? That's the journey that organizations are taking, and that's how the consumer is demanding it now, nowadays. So what is your thought around it? We have Boeing in Hindi and English, and now we're talking about multiple languages with you. But then what is that vernacular journey? Do you think that's important for a country such as ours? And how do you see consumers adopting to it?
Yeah. So vernacular as a journey is very very important. I think comes with the same reason as voice. Probably just 50 million of Indians can really converse in English, and to reach digitally to rest of the audience, vernacular is a must-have. We are seeing tremendous demand for vernacular solutions, but I think the constraint for adoption of vernacular solutions has been that a lot of vernacular implementations are being done on top of English digital assets. So naturally, people are not able to discover. So website is in English, but probably a conversation is in a vernacular. What is turning out to be a key enabler is platforms like WhatsApp, Business Messaging, which are by
On your
natively they are
voice.
not any language, and we are seeing a tremendous adoption of vernacular on platforms such as
Aapka voice on.
WhatsApp and Google Business Messaging. Am I audible?
Yeah, you are on.
Yeah. We are seeing tremendous demand for vernacular. Vernacular technology is there available, And what was lacking from last year was probably the channels and platforms that are suited and enabling vernacular. And now we have those platforms available. So we see that the adoption among the users and enterprises will be 10x of what it is last year or 2 years back.
Great. I think the vernacular is a good, is a good story, Raghu. So what's happening outside? See, I mean, we are talking about the Boeing story for Bajaj. I think the outside in and the inside out we always talk about, right? We always believe that we are the the best, and we are. But it is always good to learn, from challenges from outside. So what are you seeing? The entire what is happening outside in the banking industry or in the other, BFSI or other industries, where are people going beyond the regular, one point servicing, like 23 services we have talked about? Are people building the entire life cycle on the flows on bot? Because it's almost like chatting, right? I mean, it's almost like, and I know WhatsApp is on the anvil, the whole WhatsApp commerce, right, is right out there with whatever we are hearing on Geo and WhatsApp. So what do you think about that? What's your view on that?
Yeah, so I think the entire this is being called the direct to consumer wave. So with COVID, the entire direct to consumer wave on messaging or on chatbots has just completely accelerated. I can take a few examples in industries without naming the brand names. So one of the leading grocery company or retail company in India is generating almost $2 million of sales completely on WhatsApp. So they give out their number to apartment complexes, and they do the end-to-end ordering of grocery and retail on a WhatsApp channel, including payments. And what also is happening is the micro discovery and micro commerce. What is meant by micro commerce is somebody buys a major product. So let's take an airplane seat. Along with that, there are moments where the airlines company wants to sell a seat, a meal, etc. And these are micro commerce moments that can be enabled on WhatsApp and these platforms. You just get a WhatsApp messaging saying that, hey, booked your seat, today night you're flying, what do you upgrade to a premium? And you just chat and you take a higher meal, you can upgrade a package, and additional commerce is done. So we are seeing significant pieces of that. The third biggest aspect that we are seeing is customer support as a channel for sales. So what we are seeing interestingly is that when it is humans that are cross-selling and upselling after a customer support call, the consumers are feeling obliged to answer, and they are not feeling great about being sold to. While it's being done by a bot, what they are essentially seeing is that they are not obliged to answer it, but if they like it, they can go and buy it. So it's giving a great experience to the end user while generating 3x to 4x the kind of leads and sales, and making customer support not as a cost center, but as a profit center while improving the customer experience. So these are some of the trends that we are seeing in the market, Saurabh.
Great. So one thing that Raghu, which always comes back, I think the topic that we are talking about on scale and and speed and scale. I think the speed piece, when startups work with large incumbent companies such as ours, right? The scale is there with us, the speed is there, what you bring in, and and challenge us. What I've seen is usually it is it's the partnership that creates the magic, right? It is not one way or the other. I mean, because once you have a fantastic idea which challenges some part of the value chain, I think it's a partnership model which takes us, the magic that gets created. And what I've seen is worldwide, there is the story, right? There are many startups with fantastic ideas, but they could not scale up because obviously, the way they worked, with either existing players was not, not suitable. And I've seen that usually trust plays a very big role. Right. And the way I define trust as a formula, being a techie, right, it's inversely proportional to self-focus. What I mean by self-focus is, how much you are focused on, and growing your whatever valuation, customers, how much we are focused on. Usually it is the partnership that creates, the magic. So what are your thoughts or even, suggestions to, how we should be engaging, with the entire startup ecosystem, you being a part of, a very active part of that, and you are sitting in India's, Silicon Valley, in Bangalore. So what are your thoughts on that?
Sure. Thanks a lot, Saurabh. That's a fantastic question. And I think there's a lot of things that I discuss with other startups as well. And in this aspect, I would kind of start off saying a disclaimer that I think Bajaj General Insurance and as a group has been one of the best enterprises for us to work with. And I don't think there is a lot of improvement scope out there for you as a company. Because one, there was a lot of trust at the beginning on working on such a strategic engagement with a startup of 5 to 6 people, and how the company can relate to the technology and people more than just the credentials, right? I think that just gives a major boost on taking advantage of the speed that the startup gets as well. But most importantly, I think the second aspect is what we call customers as push customers and pull customers. Push customers are customers where you need to go and keep on selling that, hey, please use this, please send this, please do this. And the second customers are called pull customers. They have a product, they want to make use of it and achieve the vision that they have for a certain specific technology. And those are the customers which take technology, which take an ecosystem, which take their company to completely different level. For example, Bajaj General Insurance as a company pushed us to use across multiple different places, across multiple different channels. Hey, we want to go with Alexa, we want to go with Google Assistant, we want to be the pioneer. That vision coming from the top of the company that is aligned with a startup vision makes the magic. I think that is the key aspect, and I would kind of give great credit to you, Bajaj General Insurance, the company, and Bajaj as a group for that vision. Saurabh.
No. Good. I think one question I always had, and this is like, the maybe coming out of a sci-fi movie or, or something, but given so much happening on the bot side, robotics side, right? When will we have our own personal bots? I mean, is there a world where you can imagine that, that I can get all my job done, right? From and then the bot can warn me, if someone is angry with me, or or there are things that are not happening. If you see even things on the Microsoft normal email, right? We are starting getting some kind of an analytics which should start saying, right, these are the things that you said you will get back by today. There's an expected reply. Either you can say it's yes or no. But our personal bots, are they coming? I mean, will it be so easy to say today morning that I have 5 activities which I do on a repeated basis? This is my personal bot for work. This is my personal bot for, for taking care of household things. Is that whole bot democratization, do you see that happening?
Absolutely see that happening, and you can already see that the first steps of it, be it an Alexa at your home or Google Assistant on your phone, they're already suggesting you multiple things. They're suggesting you about weather. They suggest you about the traffic, whether you need to start right away, 5 minutes before, 5 minutes later. They're already suggesting tasks about reminders. And a lot of services are getting integrated. So let's say now Boeing is integrated into Google Assistant. That means that people can, at one point of time, get their insurance things answered. So we are in that evolution. We are probably in the step 1 of that journey towards being one of these platforms becoming a personal assistant, a real personal assistant for the user. And I think for that goal to be achieved, the entire ecosystem or partners that enable the actions need to get onto that platform. Somebody wants to order food, so automatically placed through one of the food delivery companies, etc. So I think that's being built out, and I don't see that it'll be more than 4-5 years before 60 to 70% of our daily tasks are either assisted or automated through these personal bots, Saurabh.
Oh, great. Just a follow-up question on that. I think the tech part being taken care of, there is whole, and I see some questions also getting asked. Will bots be able to identify sarcasm or human feelings, right? Let's take it, a little bit broader because we always say, right, as insurers, right, one piece is that we do our job, but then there is an empathy element. In fact, my CEO, Mr. Singhal, Mr. Tapan Singhal, he always said when there is a situation, do you really need a shoulder? Do you cry on, on Siri or on Google Assistant? You need a human, shoulder. And as insurers, we need to embody that. But will bots ever start, learning, emotional and emotions and responses, or do you see that happening right in the, the near future? Because we have talked about, like those connecting neurons, in the brain. I know that, AI has there is a scientific, study, and as well as there is a stream behind it. But do you
Yeah.
see that happening very soon, or how far is it?
Yeah, sure. So I'll just lay out the challenge, and I don't want to kind of crystal ball it too much, right? Is providing empathy to the user is not just words, it's also feelings that you're talking face to face, how you're seeing your expressions, etc. Just in technology, where we are is probably identifying emotion from a conversation. I think we are pretty much there. Just giving the same example of patterns, right? There are patterns. Once they are labeled, it can go ahead and predict whether the person is XYZ, happy, sad, etc. Where I think the technology still is under development is what kind of response really helps the user, makes the user feel that there is empathy, that they have a shoulder to cry on, whether the other person can listen out, etc. I think that entire generation aspect is something that is still being worked on. And most importantly, I think some of the technologies that are coming up are video bots where there could be image of a person that automatically changes based on the conversation that happens. So you could have a celebrity that's actually talking where what he speaks, how he speaks can be completely closer. But they replicate the human touch, human feel, the what they can see, the reactions in a human. I think that is probably about 8 to 10 years of are in this space.
Okay, great. So, Aviva, I lost you a little bit in between, but I think it's fascinating how we went from, more personal bots to, how the customer service, entire customer service angle is changing to the sales piece. I think do you, really see bots now and, like companies like Yellow Messenger play a lot of, role in giving insights or analytics around consumer analytics around what has happened?
Absolutely.
Because one part is the interaction, right, that is
Yeah.
happening, and the second is solving the actual problem, right, whether it is from claims registration to more complex tasks. And now we are talking about the sales journeys, getting built as you talked about. But is there merit in saying when I come to my point, right, the second time or the third time or fourth time, my own preferences are known. Maybe Boeing knows now, my bot, the
Yeah.
knows that what are the kind of policies that I have, and maybe it is time for renewal. So it's kind of extending that personal bot into that enterprise, right, where the enterprise knows about my preferences. That's almost taking like consumer experience to a different level. But the data piece is a very big element. The data has to merge, and then obviously the bot becomes smarter. What do you think about that? Is that near? Is that far? Or we think it's
Yeah.
wishful thinking?
No, no, I think this is possible today, Saurabh. So the technology to enable that and especially conversations give deep insights than visual apps like a mobile app, etc. Because mobile app, just because somebody is clicking on somewhere, you make an assumption that hey, he needs insurance, and there'll be ads going on Facebook, etc., asking him to buy certain specific thing. But in conversations, you're getting exact intent of the user. I want to buy. I don't want to buy. I need this. So the analytics that you get about a person are much, much deeper. And right now, technology, and I think our platform can actually help provide an audience view of each customer. Mostly the challenges in kind of getting it to real life is more about having different integrations and also getting insights on what exactly to be done. Let's say you understand that user needs this XYZ, understand this user. Based on that, what my next interaction has to be is something that the organization needs to determine. There are different systems to be connected. So it is more just work than technology being available to do it. Right now, the technology is there. It's just about orchestrating is what is
No,
needed. Absolutely.
no, good, good. I think, see, this also brings me to my, one of the, the last point before we take more questions. What about privacy? See, there is a lot of talk around GDPR in Europe
Yeah.
and now, in the Indian context, right? The whole data protection bill coming in. The more we personalize, the more, we get into that consent, unconsent kind of model, which will become very important because it's finally me as a consumer who's sharing,
Absolutely.
my data. Uh, what about that? I mean, is that something that you
It
see
is.
playing a role, and will it change the way things are set up, the way things enterprises think about it, and even consumers think about it?
Yeah. So for enterprises, I think they are in a better shape to actually enable it because but the entire privacy movement is happening towards the user having control of his or her data. So if the user believes that the value that he or she gets by allowing the organization to utilize that data and provide a more personalized experience, the users are willing to share. Once the users are okay with it, and especially in countries like India, I think they are more open to actually allowing organizations to have their data if there is a value that's provided back, and I don't see a hindrance there. I see that now enterprises will be have more conviction and actually have a more incentive to actually provide value back to the user. For example, as an insurance company, if I can collect data about the user's health, motor usage, and thereby able to provide a much more lucrative insurance package to an existing customer, I as a customer would be more than willing to share that data. But if the same data is used by the organization to probably spam on calls, but I might not be willing to share that data. So progressive pioneering companies like Bajaj, who are working towards personalization, can actually use this opportunity to take a leapfrog with respect to competition.
No, well said. I think that's very pertinent. In fact, I always say, right, Indian consumers are there ready, right? If you ask me, what's in it for me has to be answered, right?
Yeah,
And I have to have the freedom to be able to consent to things and
yeah,
unconsent to things. It should not be right. I shouldn't be taken as as granted by a brand or by an enterprise. As long as I have that option, I think it
yeah,
always, is always good for me. And then let's see what's in it for me. If you use
yeah.
my data, then I better get something. Right? So
Absolutely, absolutely.
fantastic, Raghu. I think we are, I thoroughly enjoyed the discussion. I think we went all the way, from beginning of, the different parameters to why, what's happening. I would ask you one last thing, where from an innovation standpoint, right? What do you see completely, which we haven't talked about, right? Completely anything new and exciting that is happening in this world on the AI and the customer service side? Anything that we haven't talked about? I think that we should be, our audience could learn from this thing.
Yeah, so some of the key things that are happening right now is the entire voice identity piece and payments on messaging platforms. So these are the two big things that we see making a really big difference. So imagine that you are getting onto a call to a customer support executive, and you're automatically recognized, and your personalized data is is retrieved, and you're actually getting a proactive message that, hey, we know that X, we got a higher bill, and this is how we are giving you a discount, and all that process is happening without the customer speaking much about his problems, right? I think that's very exciting, and that's happening in this domain. The second is entire disruption around payments, micropayments, etc., where you're just chatting, you agree for something, and you kind of can pay right from your conversation on WhatsApp itself. Can just enable ease of use for the customers in a significant way, and enterprises can derive value from the impression that they created at the customer at that point of time, rather than giving friction of having a friction, him going through 3 4 more loops before actually buying the product. So these are two big things that are happening in the market. So
Finally, before we sign off, I saw a couple of questions. We can take, one or two questions, before we sign off. One thing which I saw was around the privacy was one aspect, but the human emotion. I think you talked about the human emotion and how it has been picked up. By bots are getting more and more smarter. But one more thing I saw consistently getting asked, some 3 4 questions was apart from your cool behavior, apart from keeping calm at all times, and I've never seen you stressed out even in the situation where we have been very active. Uh, what is your advice to budding entrepreneurs? Right? I mean, you're a perfect example of someone who started off in the industry, worked with different enterprises, and then went and started something on your own, and now it is hugely successful. So what is your advice to budding entrepreneurs? And here I don't mean by age, right? There are people, who are listening, who are old and young at heart, and this thing. But if they want to, think about entrepreneurship, what are the, the risk aspect of it? What you're doing, the passion, what drives you? What drove you, and what still drives you?
Yeah, sure. So one, obviously, I think the entire experience of building something that's used by a lot of people is just so gratifying. I think that is one thing that really drives me. But at the same time, I think just looking back, being more practical is I think a lot of people have that ambition, and what at least the concept that I used to use. I mean, I'm just saying because that might be helpful. I call it affordable risk. So at any point of time, every person would have something called an affordable risk. That means that, can I be without a job for 1 year? Can I be without a job for 3 months? Can I spend weekends? I mean, there would be some amount of affordable risk that you can take as an individual. And with that affordable risk, there is an initiative that you can do to actually achieve your startup goal. So always get started with that affordable risk at this point of time, rather than waiting for an ideal scenario that can happen 3 years, 4 years later when you can return. So don't wait. But at every single point, even today, everybody has some affordable risk. Use that affordable risk to take an initiative towards a goal in that direction. And as you keep improving, the affordable risk keeps increasing, and you can take bigger and bigger shots, and that starts the journey. I think if there is one thing I could share, I think that's what I could share.
No, very well said, Raghu, and I think it resonates, with a lot of us, who have come up and, grown in our days, you remember, the maths and engineering and, and after being this thing, what the choices. These days, there are a lot of choices in the current generation, but I see ideas also coming up. But slightly, people who have grown up in 90s and, and late 80s and coming into this is something. So very well said in terms of affordable, risk and using your weekends. If you have the passion, I think there is no stopping. Within the enterprise, there is, there are, and I say that proudly, within Bajaj also, there is that whole entrepreneurship culture that we have, where we encourage, this. That provides a medium. And obviously, there is, you can always do something on the outside as well. But fantastic conversation. Great, insights, and I hope, all the audience and everyone who joined enjoyed this. We should do this, more often. And I hope, I wish Yellow Messenger all the best, and our partnership, we should probably, scale greater heights. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for taking the time out.
Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you, everyone here. It was fantastic. Always great to be associated, and I really loved the conversation. Looking forward to more of this.
Thank you, Raghu. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
So we
Bye bye.
end this here now. Thank you.
Bye bye.